Today, I want to talk about the Lumix 20 to 60 millimeter lens. This is a common lens, quite popular, lots of them out there in the wild. A lot of people will call this a kit lens because it comes with so many of these cameras at a pretty good discount. For the longest time, I haven't picked up this lens. It was never the right combination of camera body with lens for the right price. So it didn't make sense at the time, but recently this was just on sale. So I finally picked it up because I quite like the focal range, 20 to 60. If you've been paying attention and watching my channel for some time, you'll know that 20 millimeters is like my golden focal length on the wide end. Not a huge fan of 28 as a starting point for a wide. 24, even still, it's wider than 28, but still, there's something about 20 millimeters that just looks so good. Ultra wide without a lot of the distortion you'll start seeing at 18 millimeters or 16 millimeters. Those are wider, but you get more of that, obviously wide focal range. And I just am not a fan of anything past 20, but 20 is that sweet spot. And then decently throwing to 60, that's a great reach going from 20 to 60. If you understand the focal length kind of curve and how it's kind of exponential fall off, you'll know that, the difference between 60 and 70 is not as big of a difference as, let's say, 20 to 30, which if you're comparing 20 to 28, that's a big difference in terms of field of view compared to the exchange between like 60 and 70. It's less apparent at that end. And even certainly past, 100 or 200 millimeters, like the difference in 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters is not a lot. The exponential fall off just with the way focal lengths work means that there's kind of diminishing returns and you need further and further, longer and longer focal lengths at that long end of the spectrum to really get the reach you're looking for. Where at the wide end, the difference of like 1 or 2 millimeters can really make a big difference. So I do like this lens. It's been praised for its size, its weight, its price point, certainly. I think right now you can find them around $300, even new, but then used, you'll find them like $250, $270, something like that, US. Obviously, prices can always change. So depending on when you're watching this video, those prices might be different. But in general, I wanted to get my hands on it, see how it felt, because there's this kind of balance that we're always looking for is functionality, practicality. Does it give you what you need it to do in a form factor, size, weight, price, all that stuff that makes sense given your needs? Maybe it's your budget, maybe it's the way you shoot, weight, size, it all kind of adds up. So something of this size, which holding it is a lot better picture than just a product shot on a page, right? So I wanted to get in hand, see how it felt. And really, this just proves to me that there's so much room for a pro version of this lens. If this is the kit lens, because let's face it, it's not the fastest lens. It's a 3.5 to 5.6, so kind of slow in terms of aperture, but that's pretty standard for kit style lenses, especially of this size and build quality. It does feel a little plasticky, it is kind of lightweight, but maybe that's a benefit for your needs. But it just reminds me, or it encourages me, or it just proves to me that there is so much room for this type of lens, this focal range, but in a pro version. If this is a $300 lens, now granted, that's not retail, that's discounted, right? But let's say, in the kit, that's kind of the standard going price for this type of lens, $300. There's certainly room for something twice or 3 times the price, $900, even $1,000 for a lens that's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but gives you that faster aperture that I think we all want. Constant aperture is where it's at. That's my preference. Something like a 2.8 with this focal range would be absolutely killer. I don't know why Panasonic, Leica, none of them have done it yet. We keep getting the same old 24 to 70, 24 to 70, 24 to 70. Sigma is doing interesting stuff, but their wide end seems kind of like capped at this 28, which I find incredibly frustrating. 20 millimeters to 60 is so valuable. If you know me, you know the channel, I'm a huge fan of the Micro Four Thirds lenses. The 10 to 25 from Leica, 20 to 50 full frame equivalent, is basically this lens. And that lens is quite a bit bigger, certainly more expensive, that's for sure. And it's faster, but Micro Four Thirds, you're getting that deeper depth of field. So on full frame, having something like a 2.8 would give you that advantage in terms of shallow depth of field on a full frame sensor, and it would give you the aperture, the speed you need in low light situations. I know the trend lately has been these really fast zoom lenses. They're big, they're heavy, they're expensive. So Sigma has tested this out with the 28 to 45, which I also own. It's an expensive lens. It's a fast lens, a 1.8. And that's really impressive for a zoom lens, but 28 to 45 is not a useful, or it is a useful focal range, but it's not the most useful. Sony is also putting out lenses that are faster, like f2 zooms. I think their newest is a 50 to 150 f2, but I believe that lens is around $4,000. Incredibly expensive, big, it's heavy. And so that caters to a certain part of the market, but it's that high end, the premium professional class that wants to spend $4,000 on one lens and is willing to deal with the size and the weight that it comes along with it just for that optical performance of getting an f2 zoom. Very impressive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad lens. It just is a smaller slice of the market. And then on the low end side, the consumer side, you have more lenses like this in the kind of $200, $300, $400 range that are slower in terms of aperture, but they're smaller, they're more compact, they're lightweight, all those great benefits. And I think we're really missing this middle of the road, the kind of classic 24 to 70, a 2.8, but with a more useful focal range for today's modern creators. I think 20 millimeters is that perfect focal length, especially if you're doing any kind of selfie vlog kind of stuff, as well as just documenting real life. You see, I think the 24 to 70, that classic standard zoom that everyone knows and loves and everyone's been shooting with for years and years and years, is that perfect sweet spot for old traditional photography and video where everything looked kind of standard and normal. But nowadays, with YouTube content and with the ever increasing amount of wide angle lenses out in the wild, think of your smartphone, think of your GoPro, think of a drone, think of any kind of action camera. There's so many wide angle lenses out there because people want to see the real world. They want to see everything. Whereas in the past, you might have wanted to see just your set. You think in Hollywood terms, you have one corner of the room that's your set, and the rest of it is light stands and equipment and crew all behind the scenes. So you need those kind of longer, tighter focal lengths that give you that more narrow field of view to isolate your scene, isolate your frame. Compared to nowadays with YouTube content creation, influencers, everyone wants to see everything. Show me the space. Give me a sense of what it's like to be there without too much distortion. I don't know many people who are a fan of the fisheye look for standard production. It certainly is a look. It's an aesthetic that GoPro embraced to their detriment, probably. I'm not a huge fan of the fisheye look or that ultra wide distorted look. But 20 millimeters, it gives you that amazing, just the opposite of claustrophobia, whatever that is, right? The longer the lens, the more claustrophobic and tight everything feels because you're narrowing that field of view. When you pull that back, you go wider without too much distortion. You get to breathe a little bit easier. You get to take it all in and see and understand and experience the place. I think that's why things like smartphones, GoPros, action cameras, and drones are so popular, especially for the action sports that most of them are capturing, but just that sense of place and scale and spectacle. You look at something like the Osmo Pocket 3, which I believe the field of view equivalent of that lens is a 20 millimeter full frame equivalent because it just gives you so much breathing room. You can see everything in front of you without too much distortion and frustration as a creator where like things are warping and weird and people's hands get really big as they get closer to the frame. That will certainly happen, but to less of an extent like you might get with a 16 millimeter lens. That classic 16 to 35 I was never a huge fan of just because 16 always felt way too wide. I was constantly using it towards the 35 millimeter end of the spectrum, and then I'm like kind of capping my lens. I don't like zoom lenses that make me feel restricted where I'm kind of throwing away one end of the lens or the other. If it's too long or too wide and I'm not using it, why am I buying it? And why am I choosing it? I would much rather have something like a 20 to 60 where all those focal lengths are valuable. 20 is useful, 35 is useful, 50 is useful, even 60 for that extra reach, very, very useful. And when you look at things now like crop zoom or hybrid zoom, the extra reach we can get with the resolution on these sensors, extending that reach, there's not technology in the sensor to go wider, but there certainly is technology to go longer in terms of focal length. So if you have an ultra high resolution sensor, like something like the Lumix S1R Mark II, their newest flagship, that's going to give you that extra reach, that crop zoom, that hybrid zoom, extending that 60 well beyond 60. Now, is it true 60? Is it optically 60? No, you're kind of cheating a little bit with sensor technology, but it works really, really well if you have the resolution and the megapixels to play with. So all that considered, you could have something like a 20 to 60 that becomes a 20 to 120 or whatever the equivalent is. I don't know the exact math for hybrid zoom on the S1R Mark II. I think on the S5 Mark II, which has hybrid zoom now, same thing on the S9 also has hybrid zoom. I think the math there is like a 1.5x crop. So 60 times 1.5, like a 90, if I'm doing my mental math correctly. That extra range is helpful, is useful on that long end, but we still have that glorious wide angle, 20 millimeters on that other end of the lens. So nice, so useful. And this proves to me, like this size, this weight is great, but I'd be willing to take something a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, a little bit more expensive if it gave me that faster aperture. That's the only problem with this lens. And some people have said it's not optically the best lens. They say it's decent. I haven't done enough shooting with it yet myself to really confirm one way or the other. But, all signs point to it's decent. It's good enough. If you can improve the optics, give us faster aperture in a bigger, heavier, more expensive lens, I think most people would take it. I think they'd be happy. People are dying for something like this. Just a little bit more pro, a little bit more premium, a little bit more professional. But again, not reaching to that, $4,000, $5,000 lens class either. Somewhere in the middle. Not the cheap kit consumer lens, but not the, uber expensive. Like if you look at the L-mount lenses that Leica is making, they're just incredibly expensive for no good reason. Maybe there is a good reason. It's no reason in my mind that would justify the price on some of the L-mount lenses that Leica's making. But Lumix, Panasonic certainly can play that middle ground, having those kind of, I don't know, it's just like the perfect camera to me is something like the S5 Mark II. Doesn't overheat, can do everything I need, open gate, shutter angle, autofocus, stabilization. It's all incredible. It's got enough resolution. It is kind of that perfect hybrid camera for me right now. Dynamic range is great, 10-bit, 422 color, all the things you would want. Can it be improved? Of course, we've talked about that before, but we're still missing that equivalent on the lens side from my perspective. We have high-end premium lenses and we have low-end kit budget lenses. And from my perspective, we're missing that middle of the road in terms of price and performance, but something that's a focal range that makes more sense for modern creators. I'm not a huge fan. I'll say it again, the 24 to 70. It used to be a standard, but nowadays I just want something a little bit more interesting, a little bit more unique. A 20 to 60 is very smart when it comes to focal length. I'm glad they made this lens, at least as a starting point. And now I'm looking forward to hopefully someone over at Lumix at Panasonic can realize, hey, let's take the great concept of the 20 to 60 and just make the pro version, just make the upgrade, the faster constant aperture version, better build quality, better optics, whatever that is. Charge more, make some more money. I'm fine with them doing that, but give us something that's a little bit more useful. As it is, I can use the 20 to 60 and I certainly will, but I would prefer something like a 2.8 constant aperture. And we don't need to reach for the f2, the uber expensive, uber, just insane in size and weight. We don't need that. I'm not asking for that. It's cool that Sony is doing it. Canon has some lenses like that. Sigma is chasing the, ultra speed zoom lenses. That's fine. I'm glad they exist, but it also neglects a good portion of the market out there that just want something standard, decent, good enough, middle of the road. They can just always have in their kit. They can always rely on it. The 20 to 60 is kind of that lens. It's close. You might want it with you for the focal range, but what if it's dark? What if you need something better in low light? What if you just want something with a constant aperture so you're not constantly having to worry about exposure changes as you zoom? Very frustrating, not ideal, certainly not what I would consider a pro lens. Good enough for the kit, but I think we can do better. And this proves it. There's room to scale this. This isn't the largest I could imagine a lens. There's plenty of lenses quite a bit larger. So bigger, heavier, more expensive, totally fine with it. This proves, I think it's a good base, but there's room to improve upon it. And I hope we actually get to see it because I would be quite excited for that type of lens.